A sprawling investigation into an international sex trafficking ring that authorities say has tentacles stretching from Florida to New York and China was overshadowed Friday, Feb. 22, by the news that one of the alleged Johns arrested happens to be a billionaire NFL team owner. The overwhelming focus of the initial news coverage had to do with the embarrassment being faced by Patriots owner Robert Kraft, his friendship with President Donald Trump, and what penalties the 77-year-old Kraft might expect from National Football League Commissioner Roger Goodell. The fact that dozens of women were essentially being lured from their home countries, held in slavery and forced to perform sex acts for hundreds of men was treated as secondary to the tabloid news of Kraft's misdemeanor arrest on 2 counts of soliciting prostitution. A spokesman for Kraft, worth an estimated $6 billion, issued a statement saying, "We categorically deny that Mr. Kraft engaged in any illegal activity. Because it is a judicial matter, we will not be commenting further." Fortunately, law enforcement officials in Florida were not being distracted. "The story is not Bob Kraft," Martin County Sheriff William Snyder told the Boston Globe. "The story is that dozens of women in southeast Florida along the Treasure Coast are living in rudimentary living conditions and being coerced into acts of sexual conduct," Snyder said. 6 women working at the Orchids of Asia Day Spa in Jupiter, Florida, are being treated as victims of human trafficking, part of a ring that exploits women from places like China, Korea or Thailand. "These and other women," he said, "are shuttled between different spas and are unable to leave because they have no money and do not speak English." He said investigators have brought in Mandarin translators, and that one woman is cooperating to help authorities understand what pushed them into such horrid conditions, including whether they were being forced to repay significant debts for getting them to the United States. Jupiter police told reporters it appeared customers paid $59 for a half hour and $79 for an hour. Investigators say the women were forced to see anywhere from 7 to 15 men a day, 7 days a week. The women remained sequestered at the small spas, sleeping on the massage tables and cooking meals where they get. "We've done around-the-clock surveillance, and they never leave," Snyder said. "They're squatting at the back door, cooking on a hot plate. There's no washing machines or dryers. There's no transportation. Even though they weren't in handcuffs or they weren't in cages, they were imprisoned. And the men that capitalized on their misery are the true captors," Snyder said. The spas are part of an international trafficking enterprise, and authorities have traced millions of dollars to bank accounts in China. "We have seized $500,000 so far, one house, several cars," he said. "We followed the money trail and there was $20 million between China and the U.S. Sex trafficking generates annual profits of nearly $100 billion, according to the International Labor Organization. Polaris, a Washington, D.C.-based nonprofit that operates the National Human Trafficking Hotline, estimates that 9,000 illicit massage parlors, many in suburban locations, are currently operating. Snyder said the businesses have persisted for so long because these places hide in plain sight in strip malls, next to nice grocery stores. "We can all make mental notes right now at the locations we drive past around New Orleans. And the clientele might include just about anyone, including some of the very wealthy. It is time that more law enforcement agencies adjusted their views on who is the criminal and who is the victim." Will Louisiana GOP hand John Bel Edwards a second term? By every objective measure, the Democratic governor holds the edge over his announced Republican challengers. "We do not treat these women as suspects," Snyder said. "The true monsters are the men. The men who go in there have the key to their freedom. If they stop frequenting these places, the sex trafficking would stop. Whatever happens to Robert Kraft going forward, maybe his embarrassment will end up doing some good." Tim Morse is a columnist on the Latitude team at NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. Latitude is a place to share opinions about the challenges facing Louisiana. Follow at Latitude NOLA on Facebook and Twitter. Write to Tim at tmorris@nola.com.